Tales of Barbuzaar, the Barber's Secret. Once upon a time, in the beautiful village of Chichimangu, there lived a very famous barber named Kilinkilen. Every morning, Kilinkilen and the other barbers would set up their stools at the center of the village, waiting for customers. But almost every day, the customers flocked to Kilinkilen, forming a long line, while the other barbers sat idle. Many even began to sing his praises, calling him Kilinkilen the greatest of all barbers. Kilinkele, kilinkele, oh, kilinkele, 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 oh, kilinkele, great baba, oh, kilinkele, great baba, oh, kilinkele. Naturally, this made the other barbers very jealous. Kilinkilen's reputation spread far and wide, and people even traveled from neighboring villages just to be shaved by him. One day, one of the barbers, Mr. Ibu, grew angry as he sat without a single customer while Kilinkilen's lines stretched endlessly.
Why do people always go to Kilinkilen? Am I not a great barber too? Only Kilinkilen all the time. The people are even willing to wait in line for hours only because they want to be shaved by Kilinkilen. This cannot be normal. He must be using some kind of juju. Today, I'll spy on him and discover his secret.
That evening, as the barbers packed up, Mr. Ibu hid behind a palm tree and watched Kilinkilen. To his shock, Kilinkilen carefully gathered all the hair he had shaved, placed it into a bag, and took it home instead of dumping it into the community bin like everyone else.
This is very suspicious. Why is he taking the hair home?
Determined to uncover the truth, Mr. Ibu followed Kilinkilen to his house and peered through the window. What he saw left him trembling with fear. Terrified, Mr. Ibu ran home, stumbling and falling several times along the way. As soon as he reached his house, he told his wife everything he had seen. The next morning, before the rooster's first crow, Mr. Ibu gathered the villagers and revealed Kilinkilen's secret.
My people of Chichimangu, Kilinkilen has been using juju to trap you. Last night, I followed him to his home, and I spied through his window and saw Kilinkilen emptying a bag full of hair onto the floor and chanting strange words. Suddenly, an evil creature appeared and devoured the hair. The creature then spoke to Kilinkilen and granted him more powers. If Kilinkilen has ever shaved your hair, you are bound to keep returning to him. And if you stop, you will die.
The villagers gasped and screamed, especially the men and boys who had been Kilinkilen's customers. The news quickly reached the village chief, who summoned Mr. Ibu to explain. Mr. Ibu recounted everything he had witnessed.
My chief, I followed Kilinkilen to his home 2 days ago, and I spied on him because I already had my suspicions about him. Then I saw him throwing all the hair of the people he had gathered on the floor and invoking a juju. The juju swallowed all the hair and gave him more powers. For every strand of hair that Kilinkilen has gotten of a person, that number is equivalent to the number of times that that person must return to Kilinkilen to be shaved. If, for any reason, the person stops going back to Kilinkilen, the person will die.
The chief's servant, trembling with fear, asked,
What must I do then? All my life, Kilinkilen has been the one shaving my hair.
In that case, you have to keep going back to him as many times as possible.
But the more hair he shaves and brings to his juju, the more I will still be condemned to go back to him.
Well, I guess that is the plan. It's an endless cycle.
Hearing this, the villagers lamented and cried. Word of the accusation soon reached Kilinkilen, who fled the village fearing for his life. When the villagers discovered he had left, they panicked even more and gathered at the chief's palace. The chief, troubled by the situation, struggled to find a solution. That's when Mr. Ibu thought of how he could take advantage of the situation and stepped forward with a proposal.
My people, I have a solution, as you all know. My late father was a powerful herbalist, and I know how to counter this spell. Come to my home, and I will treat everyone involved in this matter.
The next morning, Mr. Ibu's house was overflowing with villagers desperate for help. They paid him large sums of money, and he prescribed complex rituals to each of them.
Follow these rituals every day. If you miss even one step, you will surely die.
The rituals were exhausting, but the people complied, fearing for their lives. Among them was a young girl named Ada, who had shaved her hair after battling a severe lice infestation. When Mr. Ibu saw her, he sighed.
Hader, even you had to shave your beautiful hair.
Yes, Mr. Ibu, we had no choice. The lice wouldn't go away. I tried every remedy possible to get rid of the lice, yet it won't go away, so we had no choice but to shave all of her hair. And then this happens.
That is so sad, Mama. But do not worry. This is what Ada must do so she will not die.
And he went on and gave Ada the same conditions he had given to everyone.
Firstly, make sure whenever you take a bath, water must not touch the floor. Secondly, make sure to always sleep on the floor, never on a bed, and your head must always face the floor. Thirdly, make sure to never step on a stick. The day you shall step on a stick, that day you shall surely die. And lastly, every morning before the cock crows, take an egg and put on a spoon. Go outside and walk 5 times around your house and make sure the egg does not fall off the spoon. If it does, you will surely die. After every 6 months, you must come back to me and I will administer you another ritual.
After listening to this, Ada became very worried, for the rituals were daunting. Her mother pleaded for Mr. Ibu to give her an easier remedy, but he had none other to offer. So just as all the other men and boys who had come to seek healing, Ada and her mother went home with a heavy heart. With each passing day, Mr. Ibu grew wealthier. Every 6 months, the villagers returned to him for another ritual, paying him enormous sums of money. With this newfound wealth, he built a grand mansion and surrounded himself with servants to cater to his every need. Greed consumed him, and he exploited the villagers' desperation for his own gain. Meanwhile, young Ada dutifully followed the rituals Mr. Ibu had prescribed. Day after day, she adhered to the strict instructions, her life consumed by the fear of breaking the spell. But the weight of the rituals grew heavier with time. One day, overwhelmed and exhausted, Ada could bear it no longer. She ran to a nearby river, her heart heavy with sorrow, and cried bitterly until she had no tears left to shed.
I cannot do this anymore. This is too much for me to bear. Is there not a God in this land that can break this spell without me having to go through this bondage? Bath this way, sleep this way. Every time you walk, you must check on what you step on. This is more than I can bear.
From the bushes a voice answered,
Ada, indeed, there is a God who can break the spell and save you from this bondage. Go to Eri the soothsayer, and he shall guide you.
And Ada became frightened, for she could not tell who had just spoken to her. Yet she followed the voice instruction and ran to the soothsayer's home. Everyone knew about Eri in the village, but all avoided him and accused him of abandoning his customs to follow the religion of white men. So when Ada arrived at his place, Eri asked her,
Why are you here, my daughter?
A voice told me to come to you. It said,
I know all it said, and I know you are under a great bondage, for I am Eri the soothsayer. But your people say I worship the God of the white men. What do you say about that?
Truly, I do not know Eri. All I want is to be delivered from this bondage. The conditions are too much for a young girl like me. But do you really worship the God of the white people?
The people die because of a lack of knowledge. Isn't he the same God the people call Ensi, others call him Wari, and others Nyame? If he is the God of the white men, how come we have a name for him in our local tongues?
I'm sorry, Eri, but I don't have an answer.
I wasn't expecting you to respond, my child. The God our people call Ensi has said this. He knows you and even the number of hairs on your head. He has healed you because he has found you pure and sincere. Now, you are free to go back home.
Just like that, I do not have to pay you any money or practice any ritual?
Those conditions are only given to those who serve man-made gods. However, for those who choose to serve the God of creation, all that is required of them is to believe. So, believe in what I have just told you, and you shall live.
Filled with happiness, Ada thanked Eri the soothsayer and ran to tell the good news to her mother. When her mother heard about all that had happened, she scolded her daughter terribly.
Why did you go and consult Eri the soothsayer? Don't you know he worships the God of the white men? What good has the white men ever done for us? He is a traitor and a treat to our traditions. You must not listen to what he told you. Please, my daughter, I don't want you to die. You are the only thing I have left in this life. If anything ever happens to you, I will not survive it. Please, simply follow all that Mr. Ibu has told you to do so you can stay alive. I know it is very hard, but what can we do?
I am sorry, mother. I am already healed and I will not return again to that life of bondage. I cannot.
Ada, listen to me.
But Ada could not bear to listen any longer. The argument between her and her mother grew so intense that she finally fled their home and the village altogether. She sought refuge in an old, abandoned wooden house deep in the forest. For months, Ada remained hidden, too afraid to return. Yet, as time passed, she couldn't stop thinking about her sweet mother, and her mother couldn't stop longing for her beloved daughter. Ada's mother would sit by the window, gazing at the horizon, her heart heavy with worry.
My beautiful Ada, I don't know if you're still alive or not. Oh, my daughter, how I wish I could die just to know your fate. If only someone could tell me if my Ada is alive.
A year had passed since Ada had fled away from home.
I must return home. I miss mother so much and I know she misses me too.
And so, on one very sunny afternoon, Ada decided it was time to go back home. The moment her mother saw her, tears ran down her face and she ran to her daughter. They hugged and cried even more.
You are alive, Ada. That means one thing. You were right and I was wrong. Let's go to the chief and you will tell him your story.
The next morning, they went before the chief and Ada told them all that had happened and how for 1 year since she had left the village, she had not practiced any of the rituals prescribed to her by Mr. Ibu.
Yet you are still alive. Gods, go and bring me Eri the soothsayer.
And Eri was brought before the king, and Eri told them the same thing he had told Ada, and all believed, for they had a living proof right before their eyes. From that day, Mr. Ibu's business crumbled, and he went back to becoming an ordinary barber. But no one went to him to be barbed, for they all suspected him to be practicing witchcraft. At the end, he eventually left the village. On the other hand, the chief, who had been very pleased with Ada and her mother, had gifted them with large hectares of land, a great mansion to live in, servants to attend to them, and a lot of money. Even the people of the village were very grateful towards them, for they had been delivered from a great bondage, thanks to Ada's testimony. As for Eri, the soothsayer, he became the chief's trusted advisor. The chief sought his counsel before making decisions, and the villagers, once skeptical, now sought Eri's guidance for their troubles. Under Eri's wisdom and the chief's leadership, the village of Chichimangu flourished once more, and prosperity and happiness returned. Yet the villagers never forgot the suffering they had endured. From that day on, no one ever left their hair at the barber's after a haircut. The story of the barber's secret reflects the biblical truth of how Christ sets us free from sin and fear. Just as the villagers were trapped by fear and rituals, humanity is often bound by sin and false teachings. Ada's freedom came through faith in the one true God, just as Christ's sacrifice delivers us from bondage. The story reminds us to reject fear and legalism, embracing the freedom and grace found through faith in Christ. The end. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss our next story.